Cool.
Hey people, how you doing? Welcome back to another episode of the Zero Bytes podcast. And as you can see, I'm all alone. So all the hype was for nothing. And I want to start the episode by saying welcome all to the chat. And I do have some bad news. Let's start with the bad news, get it over with, and then we'll go on with the rest of the podcast. I want to announce. I'm going to take the opportunity to announce that with the second anniversary edition, XeroLinux will no longer exist. It's been a wild ride. It's been fun, but everything has to come to an end at some point. You know, guys. Nothing lives on forever, and with the current situation in Lebanon, I can no longer do the work that's asked from me. Uh, so unfortunately, I have to pull the plug until I don't know if ever things get better. Um, I don't know. It's been a very difficult ride so far, and I don't know what to do besides axing it. There's nothing better to do. Um, I cannot see the chat. Oh, okay. So, yeah, yeah, Miss Love, I'm sorry, but things have been very difficult lately. Lebanon has been on the downward spiral. Thanks anyway for the super chat, but what can I do? If you live in a country that's overtaken by electrical issues, I mean political issues, economical issues, can you do a lot of work on something while you don't have power to do anything, you don't have the money to keep the power on, and you try to make money left and right, and you barely get anything to do anything. So well, yeah, I just wanted to get the bad news out there, and hopefully it will come back at some point. Is what I would say if it wasn't the 1st of April. Psych! I want everybody to help me welcome my co host as usual. Oh, wait. Well, who's that? Jesse? What the hell happened to you? Oh,
I changed form and became a Spanish guy and realized that my arms are still too short to box with God.
uh oh. Uh, that guy ate Jesse.
He was
People, help
yummy.
me! Where's Jesse? I'm lost without Jesse. Anyway, guys, help me welcome with open arms Alex, the Linux dude. How you
Hey
doing,
guys, how you
Alex?
guys doing? I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Well, I'm glad to have you on because Jesse today had a mission in church, so the
Awesome.
spot was open, and I couldn't have chosen anybody better.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. I
Uh,
blush. If my skin wasn't so brown, you'd see it red.
uh, so, tell everybody about yourself in case they've been living under a rock.
Well, I am the Linux Tube content creator, just like Steve and several other Linux content creators. I started my channel about a year ago. and I've just kind of been doing my thing, sharing my love for Linux, and trying to get the message out.
As you should. As you should. Well, today is a special day because you are on, number one. And I would like to ask you, what have you been up to the past week in Linux?
Well, this past week in Linux, I've been doing a lot of research on different ideas for the channel. I'm trying to grow into different, to be a little bit more multifaceted than just doing like the distro reviews and stuff like that. I don't want to be cornerholed or pigeonholed into something. So I got some how tos coming up. I got some gaming stuff that I'm getting ready to start putting out there too. I set up
Getting
a
into gaming, are we?
well, and that's the funny part because I'm not really a gamer. So
Mm.
it's kind of so what's kind of cool about this is I'm a boomer and I'm not into gaming because I'm actually, especially on a PC, I'm more into gaming on a console because that's what was around, the 5200s, the 2600 Ataris, that kind of stuff, right?
Steam Deck?
Yeah. Yeah, and so I'm not used to that kind of stuff, so I'm getting used to that. And what's going to be the reason why I'm doing that is because hopefully you'll get to see me testing out Linux on gaming, that it does work, and pretty well too. Excuse me. But then also hopefully you get some comedic value out of it, watching some old fart trying to learn new stuff. And see the frustration level that's going on here, you know what I mean? So
Well, to get past those frustrations, I just cheat. Because it's
well,
possible on Linux now. It's possible on Linux now. You know something? I started a game. Speaking of gaming, I started playing God of War when it was released on the
right.
PC. Uh,
Well, that's the
I,
game I chose to start the series with.
yeah, it's a good game. I've been playing it ever since. Half an hour once a month. So it's been what, 2 years, two and a half
Right.
years. I've been playing the game. I'm barely 32% through.
Holy
So
cow. Well,
yeah, that's
yeah,
how
it'll
I
probably
play.
take
I'm a
me
boomer
forever.
like you, so I understand when you say you're a boomer. So am I. Even with
Yeah.
cheating, sometimes you reach a point where you don't know what to do, and no amount of cheats is going to solve that. It's just you're
Right.
in an area, you have to look for things to climb, things or hidden treasures or hidden portals or whatever.
Right.
I get stuck as soon as I get stuck for 15 minutes, quit game, and wait another 3 4 months, and then come back.
Then go back to it. Yeah.
I go back to it, and I realize that the thing was staring me right in the face.
Sure. Clear your mind.
Yeah.
That, and like I said, I'm hoping that either two things are going to happen. Either people are going to be extremely frustrated at my stupidity and continue watching because they're going to be like, I can't believe this guy's this dumb, or find it actually funny and just keep watching it because of that too. So
Yeah, I guess this is what I tried it. I tried it. I streamed on Twitch, which I don't
Mhm.
recommend new people to do because it's hella frustrating. Because Twitch
Oh no, I
is a
was thinking about just doing live streams on YouTube.
YouTube. Yeah,
Yeah.
I tried Twitch because everybody told me Twitch is for gamers. Twitch is for gamers. Twitch is for gamers. I
Hmm.
tried it, and I was like bombarded, like continuously bombarded with ads. Oh,
Oh,
if you want to do this, you have to pay this much. If you want to do that, you have to become a member to keep your vods for longer because they don't keep
they delete them
your
out now to
vods
delete them after so
endlessly.
long.
Yeah, they just keep them alive for 7 to 9 days, uh, and then they delete them. They kept sending me emails offering me this, and that, but all of them I had to pay. So I was like, I stopped that.
Well, it's
Uh,
basically a huge paywall.
it's a huge paywall. So
Excuse
I
me.
decided to do it on YouTube, and things with my with the electricity over here spiraled downwards. So I
Right.
couldn't. I want if I wanted to do that, I wanted to game for like 3 4 hours at a time, not have play for 20 minutes. The power goes. I have to cancel it in mid game, and because of all
Right.
these. number one, I cannot make all the videos that I have lined up. I have 80 videos lined up, but I can't do them because of the power right situation here. Uh, I can only do those lives because I'm doing them at a point in the day where I have continuous power until midnight.
Right.
So
So you basically got to live a nocturnal life.
I have to live a nocturnal life, and to
Yeah.
add to make even to make things even worse, unlimited internet only starts after midnight. So if I want to download anything that's big without counting against my bandwidth, I have to
Right.
start the download at midnight. But it so happens that from midnight till morning, the generator mafia cuts power, so I cannot even use the unlimited time. So
It's not
it
like you can
stings,
even run an extension cord from the neighbor's house to yours to get the power.
but it's everybody in the neighborhood. So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
it's not
It's
only me.
insane. I can't,
Uh,
I read that article. I read that article,
yeah,
and to me, in case people don't know, maybe
I will share it in the show
yeah, you
notes
can
later.
share it in the show link. It's This article is eye opening to the degree of such a crime against humanity that his country and his government is imposing on him. It's insane. I can't imagine. I mean, honest to God, you might as well be in in medieval times.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
that's the truth.
it's really sad. It's really, really sad.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but if we weren't kind of used to it because it's been happening since 1989, the end of the war.
That was
Uh,
the part that blew my mind away. Sorry to cut you off. That's the part that blew my mind away is how long it's been going on, and yet it still hasn't been repaired.
it and it won't be completely repaired. It's just going to be mended a little bit, but like plaster. They're just putting plaster on the wounds, but the wounds are still leaking. Uh, that's what they do. That's what they do. Like the current situation is okay. No power. Da 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 da. They're gonna fix it. They're gonna give us a couple of hours more, but they're not gonna give us 24 hours. It hasn't been 24 hours since 1989. So it's gonna continue on
So
like this.
how do you keep so on a serious? Because this is one thing that bothered me. Maybe it's because I'm a fat kid and I've always been a fat kid all my life, so food's always been at the heart of everything. How do you keep your food fresh? I mean, what do you do in that
Okay,
situation? I
good.
mean, outside of going out and getting a fresh kill every time, you know what I mean?
No, but good thing you're asking this question because uh, the way we do things to save on the generator, we even turn off the fridge. We pull the plug on the fridge. But nowadays, because it's cold, it's 5 degrees Celsius right now,
Hmm.
or 8 degrees Celsius. Uh, it's okay. Nothing bad is gonna happen. But in summer, if it continues like this in summer, trust me, we'll need to figure something out because everything will go bad in the fridge. And this situation only started like 2 months ago. The
Hmm.
extreme power cutting, and it started only a month and a half, 2 months ago. Uh, but yeah, I'm not looking forward to summer. that's that's the gist of it. But we're kind of used to it because I
Hmm.
was born under the mortar shells and whatever. My mom was in labor, and all around the hospital there were like gunshots and AK-47s and whatnot. I was born in the war, so I'm a child
Right,
of war. Uh, and we were all, even my brother, my younger brother and sister, they were all born during the war. Well, towards the end of the war.
right.
Uh, but and then there was the Civil War in the 90s. Uh, and then we suffered a war in 2006, and then we suffered another war in whatever. So I'm
War
a
after
child of
war after war after war.
yeah, war after war because everybody wants Lebanese land for some reason or other. But
Is it
I don't know the exact reasons because everybody says something and it's never the truth.
right?
So we're blinded by misinformation. Uh, so we're kind of used to it. That's why we can survive. Uh, but it has reached a point right now for me to me, 42 going to 43 years of age, without a job, I have nothing for my future to ensure a future. So
Hmm.
I'm starting to look elsewhere, whatever the job is, as long as it's in IT or sales, because I do sales very good. I'm trying to look in Greece because it's 1.5 hours by flight from here.
Nice. Go over there and eat
Uh,
some gyros
yeah, I'm gonna be eating some euros, but
and
careful.
calamares.
Yeah, calamari. But
Calamari. Sorry. In
uh,
español, it's
uh,
calamares.
yeah, like calamari is the installer. Um,
Hmm.
there's something to be careful with gyros. Gyros, especially the pork gyros, for those who can eat pork, uh, it only starts from July during summer because the meat is fresh. If you want to eat fresh pork gyros, it's from July onward. Just for the people who want to visit Greece and they want to eat the delicious pork gyros, which they are very famous for, uh, only in July onwards. Anything
For some reason,
before,
I always thought they were out of lamb.
s- there is lamb gyros, also
Well,
chicken
of
gyros
course.
as
Yeah.
well. There's chicken gyros, lamb
But I always thought
gyros.
the quintessential. I always thought the quintessential gyro was lamb.
No, it's pork.
Wow. Gotcha.
Well, not everywhere. I have to clarify, not everywhere. In the islands, it's more pork, towards pork. In the inland or the mainland, it's more lamb. You find more lamb than anything else. But I was on an island like 2 summers ago to learn
Hmm.
Greek, and they explained the situation. They were like, here it's pork. Our specialty is pork. And if you want to eat fresh pork gyros, it's from July onward. I was like, okay. Because I didn't like the pork that I was eating, and we were there in May, I
Hmm.
think. I ate the pork gyros. They were not fresh, and they tasted like rubber. So I wondered why. I was like, they're famous for that. It tastes like rubber. The chef over there told me, you told us you wanted the pork, but pork is only the fresh pork is only available from July onward. I was like,
Gotcha.
that explains it. So I was eating pork from previous summer.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, so that's why when I was there, I only had chicken gyros because they were fresh,
Right.
and I love the fact that they're so cheap. They're like three euros a gyro,
Oh wow,
so it's like
that
three
is cheap.
dollars. Yeah, it's like
Oh,
three
I
dollars
imagine
today.
it's. Although I imagine now with inflation, and everything that the whole world
Yeah,
seems to be
it's more
experiencing,
like
it's
four and a
probably.
half, five, I
Yeah.
think now. But yeah, I'm looking for work in Greece. So if anybody is watching this who's in Greece and knows how I can find a job that pays enough so I can find a place to stay easily, let me know. Uh, but we're not here to talk about all this stuff. We're here to talk about Linux. So
The stuff that we all love, no
something
matter
that
how
we
frustrating it can be, to get
yes.
a camera to work.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If you just to summarize, I was teaching him. Sorry. Where are you? Here.
Here,
No,
there,
here, here,
everywhere.
here. Okay.
I've heard people
Uh,
say he's everywhere.
yeah, I'm everywhere. But I was teaching him how to use DroidCam, how to configure DroidCam on Arco Linux. And
Properly.
Eric, if you're watching this, you need to update the DroidCam package on your repository because you need to
It
rebuild it
keeps
against the
breaking.
new. Yeah, you need to build it against the new FFmpeg. So
Maybe tag him in the description.
yeah, I'll tag him. No, I'm on his server. I'll just tell him on
Oh
the
yeah,
on the on
message him.
Discord. Because don't forget, I am a product of his teaching.
Class. Yep.
Yeah, I'm a product of his teachings. So XeroLinux is. That's how it came to be. If it weren't for his ALCI scripts, it wouldn't have existed. And then Kiadisa on our server created a better script. I would even say 1,000 times better than Eric's script. uh,
Wow.
because the script that it's called ABS for now, but we need to rename it once we add it to the AUR because it's going to be available at some point on the AUR for everyone to use. But uh, uh, the script using that script ABS, you can build yourself a fresh, pure Arch Linux ISO, the same one that you download from archlinux.org.
Oh.
Uh, you just type ABS space dash V. It will build the Arch ISO just with the updated packages, the latest packages, or you can use it for XeroLinux. You just use instead of dash V, you type dash X. It'll build
Hmm.
XeroLinux. So it's a very flexible tool.
Oh.
Uh,
I'm actually interested in that. I want to. I mean,
yeah, you can
I
even
want to
build it
build a
on Arco
distro.
Linux.
I've
You can
always wanted to. I just don't have the
just
100%
watch the
know-how.
ISO build. Just watch the ISO
That's
build.
yeah.
I can later on. I'll show you how. You just need to git clone my repository,
Hmm.
my build repository, install ABS using a special command that
Right.
KIDSA created. It will install ABS and then CD into the repo, the ISO repo, and type
Hmm.
ABS-X, and that's it. Answer the prompts, and it will build the ISO. It's 2 seconds, and then you wait 5 minutes for it to build. Done.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's that easy.
Holy crap! But then you would customize it.
Oh, if you want
You'd
to
have to go into the
customize it,
files.
it's a different
Yeah,
thing.
you got to go into the different files and customize whatever it is that you
Yeah,
need
yeah,
to
of
that you
course.
want to
You need
change,
to,
like any
yeah.
wallpapers, pictures, color schemes, all that
Well,
kind of stuff.
XeroLinux comes with awesome wallpapers, as you saw from my releases.
Oh yeah,
So
I got to tell you, to be honest with you, when you first launched
yeah.
and it became a thing, and I kind of caught wind of it, I downloaded it and I installed it. Of course, this was before I started my channel and doing my reviews and stuff like that. And I was actually playing around with Garuda at that time, and I was like, Garuda was so fresh and so breathtaking because of their color and the way they themed it and everything right out the box. It was like, wow, they're doing something cool. And then here comes XeroLinux, and I got to tell you something. Your taste in theming and wallpapers and just the way that you put your stuff into it, man, just it like slapped them. I mean, it was like, get out of here.
Con-
You know what I'm
it's
saying?
all
It was
it's all
so
about
amazing.
consistency. It's all about
Yeah,
consistency.
I mean, compared to them, I mean, it was so amazing to me. And I was like, wow, this guy really knows how to do things. That's when I first became a fan. I got to tell you, I was a fan from the very beginning. I was
Yeah,
so impressed with the detail and the orientation that you put into it. That was like, I was like stunned. I was like, holy cow. And at that point, I remember telling myself at that point, I remember saying, this distribution is going to go a long way, and it won't be long before this distribution is probably the one of the most sought after distributions just
it
because of the way
is.
it
It
looks.
is.
And it is.
It just doesn't show on DistroWatch because I don't care about DistroWatch. DistroWatch is the trash bin
Well,
of
their
all
numbers,
distros.
DistroWatch's numbers are so skewed. It's just like
Yeah,
you don't even know how to tell. I
and
mean, it's like, I mean, okay, who are we kidding here, man? Ubuntu, however you want to call it. Okay, Ubuntu has not changed in how many decades?
yeah. No,
It's still
don't
the
look at it bad.
same.
Don't look at
No,
it
no, no, no,
badly.
no. I'm not looking at bad. I'm not looking at it bad. I'm just saying, it hasn't changed in any way, shape, or form. The look, the feel, the theme, everything's still the same, right? For the most part, it's just a little bit more modernized. But I mean, it's still the same thing, and it doesn't show the ratings on there that it should show. That's what my point is.
Yeah.
I
So
mean, there's other things that are on there that seem to be more popular than Ubuntu, but you know that Ubuntu is one of the leading Linux distributions being used out there.
yeah, and the thing that makes my distro stand out a little bit more than others is the attention to detail and consistency, as you said.
Hmm.
For example, you see a lot of distros coming out like Archcraft. Archcraft is one of the best ones out there to compare XeroLinux to because he pays attention. Aditya, the creator
Hmm.
of Archcraft, uh, he pays attention to every detail. This is where I learned everything about consistency. He is the ultimate example to follow when it comes to these kind of things. Uh, it's too bad that he's not updating it often. He's not
I was gonna say for me that's
releasing.
the biggest flaw in it.
Yeah, he's not consistent on his releases. Uh, but he created so many wonderful rices, but unfortunately they're window manager based
Hmm.
because Archcraft is more window managers than desktops. Although they have an
Hmm.
XFCE, but he doesn't pay attention to XFCE. Uh, uh,
It
so
seems to be hard to find people to do that.
I found someone to work. Oh, forget I said anything. Um, uh, but I follow his example. But if you look at other distributions from other people, they're not very
Hmm.
consistent. They they use one theme on the console. I'm talking KDE here.
Right.
They use one theme for the overall look, then another theme for the SDDM, and it's inconsistent, and that really bothers me. I have OCD, and if it's not consistent, I really go crazy. Like
Right.
I showed you a sneak peek at the second anniversary edition for May that I'm
Hmm.
working on. Uh, that was me trying to make Cappuccine a style. It's very famous.
Hmm.
Uh, uh,
It's kind of
cat,
sexy.
it kind of looks sexy, and I need to thank Teddy for the awesome wallpaper he created. Because one of the
Is he the
wallpapers
one who
took him.
creates all your wallpapers? Because I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah,
Where do you?
he does it. I send him an
Oh wow.
example, and he reworks them. Like for example, the last one I sent you, the one made out of lines.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. That was
he
really
created it
cool.
from scratch. He created the logo from scratch.
Well, Teddy, man,
Like,
you doing outstanding work, brother. Keep it up.
yeah, Teddy is the gem of the XeroLinux server. He's a very good helper, especially when it comes to games. If people are having issues with games, he has magical skills on how to help people get their games running. And he does it for fun. He fixes wallpapers. I
He
give him
does it for
examples. I
fun.
give him my vision, and he does the magic.
Either he
Uh,
does it for fun or he's a sadomasochist like we are and keeps subjecting ourselves to this.
yeah, but the attention to detail is on my end because if a theme, or if I select a theme, if it
Mhm.
doesn't have um, because themes on KDE they're split into multiple packages. You got a package for
Right.
the SDDM, a package for Grub, a package for KDE, a package for GTK, another package for whatever. You end up with 20 different packages just to complete the look.
Hmm.
But if I want, like, I selected Cappuccine. Why? Because it's got a Grub theme, an SDDM theme, a GTK theme, a KDE theme, a console theme.
It's already there. All
Everything
of
is
those are
already
there.
there. So I selected it, but for some reason, there's something like nagging at me. It's like, what is it? What is it? And I installed the first beta of the second anniversary release, and I used
Hmm.
it on bare metal on a separate SSD. I was
Hmm.
like, Cappuccine is too dark. Cappuccine is too dark for me. It
Hmm.
coming from Layan. I'm a big fan of Layan. I've been using it for what 6 releases so far.
Yeah, I
Same
was gonna say
Layan, Layan,
it's
Layan,
five or
Layan.
six that I know of.
Yeah. So I talked to the developer. He was like, I'm done with Layan. So
Oh,
he's
no
no
kidding.
yeah, he's no longer maintaining Layan. So I'm like, I'm not gonna ship something that's unmaintained because if you notice, if you spin up the last release in a VM and you go to settings and you go to applications Flatpak, the Flatpak doesn't have an icon.
Yeah, I did notice that.
Yeah, so it's inconsistent and it's broken now. But guess what? I just found a beautiful theme for WebCord because I use WebCord instead of Discord because Discord I cannot connect for the life of me.
Hmm.
Uh, but on WebCord, I found a lay-in theme for WebCord that makes it transparent.
No kidding.
Yeah, it makes WebCord semi-transparent, translucent, and
Hmm.
uses the lay-in color scheme. I'm like, I want to give up lay-in, but nothing is allowing me to get away from Leon. I keep finding good things, but it's unmaintained. I don't want to use something that's I'm in a crossroads right now. Which theme to use in the second anniversary release? So I'm this kind of person that it takes a while. It takes me a while, a long
Mm-hmm.
while, to find a wallpaper, a consistent theme. And if I can't find a grub theme, I create my own.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, uh, and so on and so forth. So
Yeah, I create
SDDM,
my own too.
yeah, and SDDM, I had to create my own SDDM theme because the Cappuccine one was. I modified the Cappuccine one to use a different wallpaper because the wallpaper that we're
Right.
using is. Ooh, ooh, so I'm not into ooh woo and all this. What's it called?
More like
Na-
you.
or nare nare rare nare, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Uh, so I asked Teddy to make me a wallpaper for SDDM, but it's a lot of work goes into XeroLinux, especially the looks, because everything on the back end is done. It's I'm using those back end tweaks and things. They make KDE exactly the way I want. I
The way
haven't
it
changed,
should.
and
Right.
yeah, the way it should. I haven't needed to change anything for a long time because everything they're modifying is on the surface.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Anything on the back end, it's already tweaked by me. So whenever they update, it's already my tweaks are gonna reapply to all the updates. The only thing is, every year on the anniversary day, uh, which is 15th of May,
Mm-hmm.
because the first release was on the 15th on May 15th, 2021. So every year on that date, I change the look a little bit. I switch from one theme to the other and stuff like that. But during
Sure.
that year, I will
Got to keep
stay
it
on the
fresh.
default that I ship until it reaches the anniversary when I will change. But beyond that, there's not a lot of work that goes into Zero Linux anymore because I just do different rices, default rices. Uh, so it's kind of like Manjaro.
I was gonna say it's kind of cool. I mean, you can use Eric Dubois' tweak tool, right, to apply those rices to yours, right?
Not really. Uh,
I was gonna say it would break a lot of yours, right?
it will break a lot because he does things differently.
Okay.
Uh, the tweak tool, the Arch tweak tool by Arco Linux, does work on Zero Linux, but I don't want him to present users who are using Zero Linux to be to apply tweaks that don't work on Zero Linux that would break it.
Right.
So there's a way for him to hide certain features of the tool when it detects once it detects on it's on this or that distro. So I told him what to hide. Uh,
Okay.
so Samba, I told him to hide Samba because I do my own Samba tweaks. I don't want people to do the Arco tweaks on top of the Zero tweaks. That will mess things around. Uh, so people can use it, but I have my own tweak tool, so why use the Arco Linux? It
Right. Right.
works, but
No, I was
I
just
have
curious.
my own.
I was just curious because actually I had a subscriber ask me that because
Oh yeah,
they know that I'm friends with you and stuff like that, and so they asked me if I knew that already, and I was like, actually I don't know that, but I'll ask them and I'll come and I'll get your
yeah.
answer for you.
It
So
does work if they really wanted to use it, but I would recommend not to be safe.
okay,
Because I have my own tweak, and there's a new Zero Welcome tool coming for the anniversary edition. I was going to release it as an update, but I postponed it for the anniversary release because I want to present users with something new on a special occasion.
sure.
Uh,
Do
and
you
that's
do you have a target date for that release?
yeah, it's May 15th.
May 15th. Okay, I just wanted to get
May
you to say it.
15th
Come on, man.
is the anniversary. Yeah, because Zero Linux was born on May 15th, 2021. So
Nice,
every year on that date, there will be something special introduced. So might as well be the tool and the new look. Uh,
sweet.
I'm still looking. on what to do uh, for the new look. But enough with that. We need to talk about the main subject of today. We've been talking for 35 minutes and we haven't tackled the main subject.
Well, let's get to it.
All right. So I'm going to ask you and you let her rip. What do you think about small projects like mine monetizing those projects? Because some people think that monetizing anything FOSS is wrong. Do you agree? Do you disagree? And people in the chat, let me know. And if you're watching this after the fact, let me know in the comments below. So, Alex, what do you think? What are your thoughts?
Well, I am going to simply put it this way, and it might surprise you, and it might not surprise you because you kind of know the caliber of a guy that I am. The truth of the fact is I believe that people should get paid for their work. And
Yeah.
it should be at least a modest fee, not an exorbitant fee or anything like that, you know. And I think also when you're using somebody's work for a while, a year, 2 years, 3 years, however long it may be, you should at least donate to that person, because the thing is like you just explained the level of work that goes on, the level of team work that went on to make zero, just zero. We're taking zero for example. I mean, let's not even discuss about the team that Linus Torvalds has just to maintain the Linux kernel.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? I mean, there's thousands, if not hundreds, of people working in the background to make this operating system, as frustrating as it can be at times, but still, it's a great operating system, right?
Yep.
And a lot of people aren't getting paid for it. And that's why we've lost great developers, because they have families to feed, they have powers, bills to maintain and keep on, to do things, live life. They have to live life still, and you can't just constantly take and not give. You should give. And when nobody donates and nobody does anything now, I will tell you right now, I have a subscriber to my channel and a Patreons to my Patreons that are so generous. I love them. They're what kind of keeps me going. You know what I mean? And it's great. But then, as opposed to the volume of people that are subscribed to me, they're less than 0.0001 that are actually
Exactly
gratuitous.
what I was going to say.
And that being said, you know, uh, it can be frustrating, because it's like even a gratuitous super thanks or a thank you would be great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you don't even get those sometimes,
Yeah.
except for the same people. They're always giving. You know what I'm saying? And those those who I do it for. You know. But along the same token, I understand not everybody's in a financial position. But DT put it best, actually, when I was talking to Derek about it, and he said, if you came to Linux to try to make money, you came to the wrong group. You
That
know,
is true.
and,
Unfortunately, that is the truth.
and it's the truth of it, because Linux is free, and everybody automatically assumes that because
Yeah,
it's
but
free, you don't have to give anything.
Yeah, well, they misunderstand
The free
the
part,
free
it's
part.
free as
The
in
free part.
freedom.
Free is freedom, not free as in monetarily free. So
Right.
I would understand when people get frustrated when developers pretend it's a GPL3 code and then put it behind a donation wall. That's because they're going against the GPL v3. But
Right.
when you put the code out there for anyone to build or use
Mhm.
for free, but then charge for your time, you're not charging for your time. You're not charging for the code. You're charging for your
Charging
time.
for your
Your time
time,
is
right.
yours to do with whatever you want.
A perfect example, when I used to work at the computer shop moons ago, I would have people come in and be like, I don't want Windows. I'm like, okay, well, I could always put Linux on your box. And they're like, okay, cool. So I would put Linux on there. And then they're like, I get it for free, right? And I'm like, yeah, you get Linux for free. And then they're like, okay, cool. And then they come back to pick up the thing. And when they got the service ticket for like $30 or whatever it was
Yeah.
for my labor, they're like, why do I got to pay $30? I thought I was getting Linux for free. I said, you are getting Linux for free, but I am employed here. I have to pay the power here. I got to do everything. You're paying. That's what you're paying for. You're paying for my labor. Here's your copy, and you can, use it for free and no apps. I showed them the application center, all this, the software center, all that stuff. It says here you can get your software. Not any software that works with Windows will work with this well. At the time, what you would call it, Wine wasn't really that great,
Yeah.
but now it's gotten so much better. But it says so you got to learn how to work within these package sets
Parameters.
that are
Yeah.
available for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so they're like, okay, cool. And then once they understood that they were paying for my labor and they weren't paying for Linux, then it became a different thing. So
Yeah.
that's why I don't have a problem doing a paywall at all. Like EuroLinux, I bought EuroLinux just to do a distro review, which is a fantastic distro, by the way.
Yeah.
I bought it, just to do a review
Yeah.
because that's
And
how.
thank you for
You know what I
that,
mean?
of course.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I support lots of projects financially like that.
like the reason I'm asking, and I made this the main topic for today, is because before the year's out, so Christmas time around,
Mhm.
uh, there will be a new addition to the XeroLinux family, which will be the XFCE edition.
Ah, you're
Uh,
nice.
s- because there's someone helping me with the look. Uh, I set guidelines on consistency. I want the look to be consistent from Grub onwards.
Right.
So somebody's helping me because I don't use XFCE. I don't know how it works. I cannot. How should I put it? Tinker with it too much beyond offer a certain look and keep it as is. But I need to explain to people that those will be called spins. There will be a new website spun up for the spins where people can either donate for the ISOs, for my time to build the ISOs and make sure they work,
And then if they want to build it for
or
themselves, then it's free, which I
and
think is a
or they can
brilliant
build it
idea.
themselves for free. Yeah, because the
That is
code
a
is there.
brilliant idea.
I need to keep the project alive. I need to figure out ways on how to do that. YouTube, well, $1 in how long? I'm not talking about the super chat. Super chats are on a
Yeah, you're talking
second.
about for your ad content revenue, which that's
Yeah,
what I think a lot of people have a misnomer about that with us content creators who get on here and do videos. They somehow, some people, I know people made comments to me uh, that YouTube pays a lot of money because
oh
we're
yeah.
constantly getting ads. For some
No.
reason, that is something they think, and it's
No,
not.
no, no.
I think
YouTube is a
for
job. YouTube is like any other job. You slack, you don't make
you
that
don't
money.
get paid. Nope.
You don't get
Mm-mm.
paid. Uh, uh, like Matt recently got sick with COVID.
Oh,
Uh,
dude, that had to hurt him so bad.
yeah, it hurt him financially. Yes, YouTube doesn't like slackers. Like
Mm-mm.
regular jobs, they don't like slackers. The reason I don't get a lot of revenue is because I only release one video a week, which is the podcast.
And not only
And
that, you
here,
just got monetized, so you haven't gotten any stuff
yeah,
built
not
up
only
yet.
that, I was talking to on the behind the scenes. I was talking to Chris Titus Tech.
Hmm.
Uh, I was asking him why doesn't he do live streams anymore on YouTube? Because live streams hurt financially. Because people it doesn't like anything longer than a certain minutes it causes less revenue because less people watch less time of it.
Right.
People don't have the attention span for an hour and a half, or however long the podcast is. The
Hmm.
retention, it's the viewer retention on long-winded videos is so low. Like on my podcast, I get which are around an hour. Like
Hmm.
today we're gonna go a little bit over an hour because we have a special guest. Uh,
Aw.
but on those videos, if you look at the retention, it's like 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes, tops 12 minutes, if on a good day.
Right.
People don't watch the entire thing. No people watch the entire thing. Nobody has
Well,
the attention span.
that's not just for lives either. Actually, if in
No,
my
it's
video
anything
history,
that's longer than 15 minutes.
15 minutes, right? Exactly. In my video history, I used to, before I was getting monetized, because I needed the algorithm and I needed to the retention of the viewership.
Mm.
I was forced to stay within 15-minute videos in
Yeah,
order to get the maximum amount that I could out
yeah,
of the video. And when you look at the analytics of it, the retention was only about 2.5 minutes.
yeah.
And
I
that's why
even
I
made
switched my intro to be so short.
I made 5-minute videos. The retention on that was a minute and a half.
That's insane. Yeah, that blows my mind. That's why uh, I was watching. I don't know. Something came up somewhere, and I was watching it, and it was talking about shorts. That these shorts are where people are garnering a lot of stuff because it gets so many views
Yeah, of course,
so
because they're
fast.
scroll. It
They just
it
scroll.
always shows on their feed. Yeah, when they're
Yeah.
scrolling. I want to start making shorts, but my problem is uh, shorts for Linux. Mm, the only reason I would make shorts is to advertise my merch store. I don't have any other ideas for shorts. I might
Well, I
start making
thought,
shorts to announce new releases. I
right,
don't
kind
even
of an
use the
idea that I
community
thought
tab.
of, and maybe it might work for you as well, is I could use the shorts for promos to videos and also promo member only videos because I want to start. I'm going to start making those this month. I announced I was going to start doing that are only for members, and those are going to be a lot of stuff like some of my gaming content, most of your how-to videos, that kind of stuff. You know,
Yeah, I, the
tutorials in that
only
aspect.
my problem is I don't have long enough power to do all that stuff. So once I get settled somewhere outside
Get your butt to
Lebanon,
Greece, man, and start making some good stuff.
yeah, that is when I will start crunching on YouTube. But right now, there is no
You just got to
there's no
hang on.
drive because of the situation. There's no drive. Every time I start come up with an idea, I get to do it. I remember there's no power. I have to wait for the power to come back. How long is it gonna come back for? And the issue with the power is when it's government power, it comes for sometimes 1 hour, sometimes 15 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes, sometimes 5 minutes, sometimes 3 hours. You can never tell.
Right.
Uh, so in case
Yeah,
you haven't
you're
noticed,
kind of held hostage there. You really
yeah.
are, and but I mean,
So
keep the faith. It'll get better.
that's what I'm doing. And once I find a job, I'll outside. I'll just get the heck out of Dodge. But if you notice, like earlier, it blinked a little bit, is because
Yeah.
it switched from generator to government power.
Yeah, and
So
I heard
UPS.
your APC, your beep.
Yeah. Uh, so it's gonna go at any moment. So I don't know when it's gonna go. How long they decided to bring it for today, but that's my situation. I have a lot of videos, how-to videos. I want to explain XeroLinux. I want to explain how to use the tool. I want to explain a lot of things in Linux as a whole, but I can't because there you go. Uh, Other than that, I have so many things I want to do with XeroLinux. I want to push people to start working on community editions where they create their own versions. Where I have nothing, no say whatsoever, except I just packages from the AUR put on the repositories for them to use in their spin, in their community edition, and they will be the ones providing support for their edition. Uh, but I want the Zero Linux family to grow. There's a lot of people asking for a window manager version, but
I
how
was
can
getting
I?
ready to say that'd be kind of cool if I knew how to build. If I knew how to build a distro, I want to get with you on that because I might be interested in doing that. Do a window manager version.
A window manager. Here's the thing. I chose the window manager I want to do for Zero Linux, but it's not going to be me. I'm looking for someone to head the window manager version because
Hmm.
you will not catch me dead touching a window manager. It's not my thing. I dislike which
I love
window
them.
managers like so bad. because to me, and it's only me, I have my opinion, and this is it. To me, a window manager is an incomplete desktop. It's
But that's
missing
the
this,
point
it's
of it.
missing that. I have to use file manager. I have to select which file manager I want. Do I want Thunar? Do I want Dolphin? But if I use Dolphin, it's gonna pull half KDE with it. If I take
Hmm.
Thunar, it's gonna pull half XFCE with it. Uh,
Hmm.
it's a lot of decisions, and I'm not a keyboard ninja. I'm a mouse ninja. So people tell me, if you're a mouse ninja, use dynamic window managers or manual tilers or whatever.
Hmm.
I'm like, I like KDE. That's all I like. That's all I'm going to use. Nothing wrong with that,
Hey,
right?
boy,
Yeah. Well, I am a fanboy. I'm a simp,
it's
upper
okay.
level.
It's
But it's
okay.
fine for one to use a single thing for a long periods of time. It's not wrong. So since I'm not going to use XFCE, I'm not going to use GNOME. I'm not going to use a window manager. Okay, I will be working on XFCE and GNOME because those are desktop environments because they are very similar to KDE with
Correct.
limitations, of course.
They're
GNOME
manageable.
on the customization front is a hack all on its own. XFCE is almost as customizable, almost as KDE, but on a much more complex level because you have to do configurations. I'm using on the upcoming XFCE release, it will be using Polybar instead of the XFCE panel, which is so
The,
limiting.
you mean the Tint 2 panel?
No, Tin 2 panel, we tried to use it, but but the XFCE panel is limiting. Tin 2 panel is difficult to use.
Hmm. I hate it.
Uh,
I that's the first thing so when I first migrated to window manager, somebody said install Tint 2 panel and try it, and I did, and it was basura. I didn't like it.
yeah. So Josh is asking, and he sent me a DM to get his question answered.
Hmm.
The window manager that I decided to use, uh, that's why I'm looking for someone to
I was
help
going
me
to
with
ask
it.
you that too, actually.
Yeah. The reason it's going to take a while before it becomes reality is because it will only come to reality. It will be born only once I can afford AMD card. If by that you didn't guess, it's a Wayland based.
Hyperland.
Yes.
I knew it.
It's
You want to know why I knew? I'll tell you why I knew. And you did not. And just to clarify, we have not had this discussion. This is
no.
the first I'm hearing of it. And the reason why I could tell, I already know exactly why he likes Hyperland. And the reason why he likes Hyperland is because, quite honestly, it's freaking sexy. The transitions are amazing. The way that you can configure it is so similar to i3 in its config. I mean, it is actually a thing of beauty. I can't remember his name, but what's his name? Vernex or whatever, the
Voxry.
developer?
Voxry.
Huh?
Voxry.
Voxry, yeah.
Voxry.
Voxry actually did a great interview that explained how he came to all this, and it was amazing, and it's so detail oriented. That's exactly why you like it. I know that's why you like it.
And as Teddy mentioned it, it's going to be called Hyper Zero.
Hyper
Uh,
Zero.
Hyper Zero. That name works, just works. Uh, because Xero, if any, if you don't know, it means I know in Greek.
Hmm.
When you hear when you go to Greece and you hear someone saying thanks Xero, I don't know. It means I don't know. So
Hmm.
XeroLinux means I know Linux,
Oh,
and Tech Xero means technology I know,
right.
and
I like your play
dark
on words. That's interesting.
yeah, and Dark Xero means darkness I know. So Hyper Zero is hyper I know.
Yeah,
So it all
that's really
works.
cool. Yeah.
It all works, and the reason I chose Hyperland is not zero hype, Josh. Zero hype is I know it means I know hype, but it doesn't work. But the reason I selected Hyperland is because I'm in direct contact with Voxry. Uh, and when you are in direct contact with the creator of a project,
Hmm.
you have him in your pocket.
You know,
So
I thought one of the things that was very interesting that he said, because he also created Hyper in the beginning, right?
yeah, but Hyper is dead.
And
So
yeah, Hyper's dead. He stopped maintaining it because it was full of mistakes. And he said that when he created Hyperland, he took all of the knowledge he'd gained from Hyper and applied it to Hyperland, and that's what made it instantly so much
and
better.
I will have you know that on Monday I'll be recording the Patreon cast with Voxry. Uh,
Oh, sweet.
also,
Good thing I'm a Patreon. Become a Patreon.
yeah, if you want to watch it earlier, you become a Patreon, and I could really use some super chats by now. Thank you, of course, Mislav. He kicked it off as always.
Hmm.
But uh, the uh, the thing I love about Voxry is he fixed a lot of issues with Wayland that
Hmm.
even the Wayland developers didn't know how to fix.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to know what's interesting too is he actually hasn't been using Linux for very long.
No, he started using Linux in 2021.
Yeah,
2021.
like almost a year, maybe a year and a
Sorry,
half at best.
2022.
Yeah,
2022.
yeah, he hasn't been using Linux very long at all. He migrated over, I think, from Windows because he hated Windows or whatever,
Yeah,
and he hasn't been using it very long at all. I'm a fan of his. What he's done,
I
he
am
kind of
too.
reminds me. He reminds me of that kid that did the Ubuntu Unity thing. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? He just came over
but
and said, "Oh, we need to fix this," and he's just a sheer genius, and he's just fixing stuff. You know,
yeah,
it's like
and and
amazing.
and and Buxley is a genius on a bigger scale because he's beating a corporation that's working on Wayland. He's beating them to the punch, figuring out fixes. And the problem with Linux and uh, with Linux as a whole, basically,
Hmm.
is like I take what Hyperland are doing as an example. Uh, he proposed a lot of fixes to them. He told them, "You have issues here, and here's how you fix them." They were like,
Hmm.
"Huh? Who is this guy?
Who is this guy?
Away with
Yeah,
you! Away with you! You're not
yeah.
part of us. Away with you!" So that was a plus for him because he beat them to the punch. We applied it to Hyperland.
Hmm.
So now he has fixes that Wayland would only dream of.
I know it's when you look at what he's done with that, it's just stunning. And
Yeah.
I'm getting ready. If it wasn't for the fact that I have all my stuff set up right now, and I have so many things planned out that I would have actually nuked and went to Hyperland already. I've got it on my laptop, and that's where I was looking at it and just really impressed with the
Yeah,
smoothness of
but
it.
for me, I need to move away from Nvidia first. Okay,
Yeah,
to be able to use anything Wayland. Although Voxry will let
I'm a
you
Team Red
know.
guy, so I'm
Yeah,
glad to hear that you're leaving the dark side.
I
You're
am
Team
Team
Green.
Green for now, but I will be going to Team Red. But uh, he will have you know, he will let anybody know that there's a package on AUR called Hyperland NVIDIA,
Oh,
which allows people with on NVIDIA to use Hyperland. But he doesn't maintain it. He's not the creator. He's not the maintainer.
oh.
He's like in the wiki. He mentions that you can try that package, but he will not provide
There's no
support for it.
guarantee,
And
right?
there's no guarantee that it's going to work. It works for some people, and for others, it doesn't. So I don't want to be one of those guys who will be unlucky. And no, I'll wait to get an AMD card and enjoy it that way, the right way. So I'm waiting to be able to afford, if ever, maybe in 10, 15 years, uh, the a Team Red card, and then I'm gonna start working on Hyperland because Hyperland is what Zero is about. It's got the because when I first released XeroLinux, it had a tagline attached to it,
Hmm.
and then that tagline, kids, plug your ears. Uh, the tagline was, uh, what was it?
All that,
Uh,
all that build up, and
uh,
all of a sudden,
it's on my head. It's on the tip of my tongue. It used to be a customization lover's wet dream
Mm.
because I love to write. I love to make things look good and consistent.
To be honest with you, I don't know anybody who uses KDE as much as you do and not love to write. That's the whole
Exactly.
great thing about KDE. That's the allurement.
So
That's what keeps people on KDE.
and Hyperland comes almost pre-rise.
It does.
Yeah. So you don't need to do much. Of course, I will
Mm-mm.
be undoing all what Vuxry did, and I'll be applying my own flavor to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I need to be able to use it to do so. So I'm gonna wait. It's going to be the thing that will get me to understand window managers a little bit better. But it has to be Hyperland because it deserves to be Hyperland. If I
Oh,
select
but
all the other ones that are i3 and DWM and BSBWM and all these, those are regulars that have been around for so long and they're already out there. I want something special to make XeroLinux special. So it takes something special. And Hyperland is that thing. But
yeah,
yeah, I'm gonna release it,
I'm
but
excited.
not
I'm excited.
anytime
I can't wait
soon.
to. I can't. I
If
can't
you
wait to
want me
see
to
it.
release it anytime soon, help me raise the money for a GPU, and I might. But until then, I'll have to figure out how to. It's gonna take much, 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 much longer. Maybe in 2030, I'll be releasing it. Who knows? uh,
If it wasn't for the shipping extortion that you got to pay there, I'd almost buy you a
yeah,
card and
yeah.
ship it to you.
The Steam Deck, when it arrived, I had to pay $200 just for it to be cleared. That's a clearance fee. That's not even shipping or handling. That's just a clearance fee. Uh, so yeah, Hyperland is the one I chose. So
Good
yeah,
choice.
look for
Solid
it at
choice.
some point in the next 10 years. Uh, if you want it before, help me get a GPU. And the final subject for today is I need to finish up the second part of last week's episode, which
Mm-hmm.
we're going to tackle a little bit for the next 10-15 minutes. We're going to tackle the issue of security on Linux. Do you think Linux is secure? Now, we understand that it's more secure than Windows. That goes without saying.
Right.
But
Now,
how secure in your mind?
well, if you're talking about Linux as a core being secure, pretty secure for sure.
Yeah.
Now, but when you're talking
We're
about the
talking
same type of
desktop
hack,
Linux.
I was gonna say, yeah, desktop Linux. When you're talking about the same exploit that was used against like LTT, then that doesn't matter what you're on.
Exactly. That's
You
what
know, it
I
doesn't
wanted
matter
to.
what you're on. It could be Linux, it could be iOS, it could be Windows. It doesn't matter what you're on because that was an exploit of a
And
of a of a browser session. You know, that was a browser session exploit.
yeah, that
So
they cloned
yeah, that they
from the
cloned. Yeah.
employee.
So I
Yeah.
mean, so Linux is secure, but I don't think it is secure because it has one flaw that every operating system has, and
What?
it's the user.
Well said. Well
It's the
said.
user. And
Guys,
and
I want to applaud you for what you said because that's exactly what I wanted to get at.
it's the user. And even I've made mistakes in the past. I mean, I haven't gotten hacked like that, but I've made mistakes, and when it all boiled down to it, it was because I didn't ensure things properly. In fact, that is one of the reasons why I did my creating your own Nextcloud instance in your own home that isn't publicly addressed. From, I mean, you can make it publicly addressed, but I made it to the video. I made it so it was just only on your home local intranet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that way you can only access it from your home environment because of those browser session exploits. Because 9 times out of 10, you're accessing it through a browser on your phone or wherever.
Yeah.
So if you get exploited that way, dude, now they've got access to all your private crap right there.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah. You know, I mean, yeah, no, it's the user. And I think we just all need to be a little bit more hyper vigilant as to the settings that we're allowing. We need to be clearing our cookies, our browser sessions, all that good stuff when we close it.
And
You can go into your settings and set it to do that.
And recently I switched browsers because Vivaldi are
To what?
taking Vivaldi are taking their sweet ass time to release an iOS version.
Hmm.
I tweeted at them on Mastodon,
Hmm.
and they replied back. They were like, "Yeah, it's coming. It's coming, and it's been coming for like 5 years now."
Holy
Uh,
crap!
but I switched to Brave.
That's
Uh,
what I use. I use it everywhere, across my everything, on my phone, on my
I need
desktop,
to admit
everything.
one thing. Okay, Vivaldi is bloated with features,
Hmm.
uh, but the necessary ones Brave has that Vivaldi doesn't.
Right.
Like number one, Vivaldi does not support the global menu in KDE. It has its own menu
Nope.
because I don't know the way it was built, but Brave has supports the global menu in KDE. To me, that's important. I cannot
You know,
live
I
without the
mentioned I
menu.
mentioned on one of my videos that I use Brave, and I got sort of blown up a little bit about it
Same,
because it's
same.
Chromium based, and I'm like, you know what, man?
Whatever you use, if it's not Firefox, they're gonna attack you.
They're gonna attack you, yeah. And I said, but you know what? It is probably by far, so far that I've found, the most secure browser to be using. Those
Yes,
Brave shields that they have are amazing,
correct,
amazing.
correct.
And what I like.
And they support Web3.
Yep, they do. They support Web3, and then also I like when you first open Brave, it shows you up at the top all the different trackers and the things that it's
Yes,
blocked in account.
yes.
And in one
Vivaldi
session,
doesn't have that for some
no,
reason.
and in one session, it showed me it blocked like 17,000 or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I
yeah,
was like,
yeah.
it blew my mind. I couldn't believe that that's how
And it's
often
and
you're
for me
getting
being in
subjected to
Lebanon,
risk.
yeah, and me being in Lebanon on a limited bandwidth, it tells me how much bandwidth it saved me by
Yep,
compressing websites.
yep, it does. It does all that. It is. I'm telling you, I was pleasantly surprised when I tried Brave and discovered how good it really was.
Like those features, if they were added to Vivaldi, because I've been using Vivaldi since 2015.
Hmm.
So I have a lot invested in it. I have a lot of data in it. Not my passwords, just my bookmarks, my settings,
Yeah,
my applications. And I always clear my passwords in the browser. I use only Bitwarden to host my passwords with
that's what I
a
use too.
a 2FA, a very complex
Hmm.
password,
Yep,
all the stuff. Uh, and when I am able to afford it, I'm gonna ditch Bitwarden and I'm gonna use Nextcloud because Nextcloud has a password
yep,
application and
it
it's
does.
hosted by you locally.
Locally, yeah, exactly.
So I'm when I am able to afford it, it's $10 because I need to get Linode to be able to host the Nextcloud, and I need to pay for Linode. I cannot afford Linode right now.
Mm,
Because if I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna get the second tier, not the $5 tier, the $10 tier, because I store
right,
a lot of files. I got over 10 gigs of pictures alone.
right,
Um,
right.
so,
I just built a
but
server and threw it in the corner.
yeah, I wish I could do that. I have a lot of desktops,
Hmm.
but
You don't
the
have
main
consistent internet and power.
not only that, I tried it, but it kept erroring out. It had limitations because it was local. Uh, you can use certain plugins because it's local. It's better to use it on a VPS. The best way to
Hmm.
use Nextcloud is on a VPS. On a local on a local server, you will have a lot of plugins that will break. That will
Mm,
simply won't work. It will
I
tell
haven't
you
had too much.
unsupported. You can still install them, but they mark them as unsupported. If you install them and you break, it's not on them. They already tell you it's unsupported. But
Hmm. I haven't had any
I
issues with mine.
it depends how you use it.
Yeah,
So uh, Linux to me is as secure as the user behind it, like you said.
correct.
So it's the same thing with driving. Driving, it's not the car that caused the crash; it's the driver behind the wheel. So
Right.
it's the same thing. In a matter of secure, when it comes to security, I consider Linux because a lot of people keep asking the question: Do I need to install an antivirus on on Linux? Most of the viruses that are unleashed are not Linux based. They're either
No.
the same thing that happened to Linus, which are hijacks, session
Hmm.
hijacks. It's not a virus. It's just a session hijack. It has nothing to do
Hmm.
with a virus.
Nope.
You don't need antiviruses, because I caught a lot of people, and you're
I
gonna
think,
laugh.
to be honest with you, I think the only antivirus that even exists for Linux
It's
is
Calm,
Clam AV.
Clam AV, yeah,
Yeah,
Clam
it's Clam
AV.
AV. I mean, I mean, that's how non-existent you need it. It just there's only one. Now, if you go to Windows or iOS, there's
There's a billion.
Kaspersky, there's there's Norton's. I mean, there's tons.
I'll tell you one thing. Linux saved my life. Why did I come to Linux? I don't tell that story very often, but the reason I switched to Linux is because I got hit with a virus when I was in the UAE, in Dubai. I got hit with a virus, and I had a lot of executables on one of my hard drives. All the
Hmm.
executables were eaten
Got
by
wiped.
worm 64 whatever virus. When you double
Yep.
click the executable, it loses the icon. I was like, why
Yep.
did it lose the icon? I double clicked it, and it caused it to propagate.
Yep.
It attacked all my executables. I
And
lost 7 terabytes of data.
the only way to get it back is to go through the registry, the system registry in Windows,
Yeah.
find the activation thing, kill it, and then go and remove it, and then
Yeah, but
reboot your system,
the
and it'll
harm is
rebuild it all.
done. The harm is done. I
Yeah.
lost I lost 7 terabytes of executables, and they were pirated games. Mm. So I had to re-download them all over again. So good
And
thing
then
I was in Dubai. I had
yeah.
unlimited internet, very fast internet, whatever. I re-downloaded all of them, uh, but yeah, it messed me up. And Linux rescued me because I was able to boot into a Linux live CD. It was
Mhm.
called Grub Rescue, whatever it was thing. But Grub Rescue
Mhm.
is not just to rescue Grub. It allows you to boot the live and access all your storage devices and back your shit
And
up.
back up all your data. Yeah.
Yeah. So I backed up what I could rescue, and good thing I didn't lose all 10 terabytes. I still had 3 terabytes of saved data, but
Hmm.
Linux saved the day. So,
Yeah.
uh,
I actually in the computer shop that I worked at, they were predominantly Windows, of course, as most of
of
them are.
course.
And there's a thing called Get Back Data, a tool
Yeah.
that you can do that
Get
with,
data
right?
back. Get data
Or
back.
get data back or whatever. Yeah, I
Yeah.
used to use that, but it was so bunk. I was like, man, this is stupid. So my boss is like, what? And I'm like, look, I'm gonna show you something. So I whipped out, I think it was at the time Ubuntu, an Ubuntu
Mm.
Live USB that I had, threw it in a box, booted into it, man, and I extrapolated everything. I said
Yeah.
everything. And he's like, holy crap, what is that? I said, this is Linux Rescue in Windows. And
But
he's like, what? And he immediately he canceled his subscription because at the time I think for data get back or whatever it was, you had to subscribe to it or whatever. And so he canceled that and he just started keeping a Linux boot disk around.
no, I'll have you know a story that's the opposite of what you just said. Windows rescuing Linux.
Whoa, very
Okay.
rare.
Very rare, and I
This is a
am known
unicorn.
to I am known to be one of the rare unicorns out there. Uh Here's what happened. I store XeroLinux on GitHub. All the code is on GitHub.
Hmm.
I have a local copy on an NVMe SSD that I have external.
Hmm.
Uh, Asus ROG, of course, because I'm an Asus shill. Uh,
Hmm.
but I was moving from GitHub to GitLab back then, and then I went back to GitHub. But I had
I
the
was gonna
local
say much
copy,
better
but I
choice.
had no copy on GitHub or GitLab. And
Oh,
I formatted the wrong drive. I lost the whole XeroLinux data.
so you had nothing then?
Nothing. XeroLinux was dead, gone.
Ouch.
I download an application on Linux that exists on Linux. I forgot the name of it. It's on the desktop of my Windows installation. I'm not gonna boot into Windows because I don't want to see its ugly face. Uh, but I keep it there just in cases like this one.
Hmm.
I downloaded the Linux version. It didn't work. The Linux version was so clunky, so broken because it hadn't been maintained in like 6, 7 years. I go and buy the Windows version because the Windows version is free, but to support XFS, which my drive was,
Hmm.
because you
You had to
pay
get the
per
pay.
format. per
Right.
format. If you wanted to
Yeah.
support this, you have to pay this much. If you wanted to support that, you
This
have to pay
you got to
this
do
much.
this much. Right.
I needed XFS support, so I paid $28 or whatever it was to support XFS.
Hmm.
I went to Windows, launched the application, let it scan the drive because I knew that I formatted the drive. I didn't touch it because as soon as you start putting data back, there's no way you can get what was deleted. You have to not touch it. I didn't touch it for a week. I then plugged it into Windows, launched the application, let it scan. It took about 4 hours to scan because it was a terabyte NVMe.
Hmm.
It found everything. I was able to restore 98% of the data. Uncorrupted. Not a single file was corrupted.
Wow.
So in that rare case, Windows saved the day.
You know, I've never been, and I'll never hold anything against anybody like that. But when it comes to tools in computing and repairing computers, there is no rhyme or reason. You just use what works. You know what I mean? What works and
Exactly.
works well. You know, if it
Exactly.
works for you to use that tool, then use it. If it doesn't, then find one that does and
That
stick
is
with
the problem in the Linux environment, in the
it.
Linux
Hmm.
bubble that we are living under right now. I
That's the
love the Linux
fracturing,
bubble.
what I call the fracturing of Linux. There's so many different ideas that there's no cohesion as to
There's
which
no
tools
standards, no
should be
cohesion.
standardized and used and improved upon to handle everything. Everybody wants to argue about this or that or whatever, but the point is it's detracting from the greatness of what it could be.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. You put it in amazing words, very short words. What took me an hour and a half in the last episode, you just summed up wonderfully in a few words. Uh,
I'm an orator, a natural orator.
yeah. So unfortunately, we have to go through this. Linux is stuck in a how should I say? It's not going up. It's just
It's
the speed
plateaued.
that
It's
it
stuck in a
reached
bit
a
of a
plateau
plateau.
because of all this hate. The GNOME people hate the KDE people. I'm not talking about the developers. I'm talking about the users.
Hmm.
If a user is using GNOME, they hate on people who use KDE and vice versa. And same thing with XFCE. And
Actually, though, it actually has gotten better. I mean, there's still hate, yes,
yeah,
but as compared to when I started Linux, it
they're
was it
mellowing
was
down.
bad. Yeah, they
Yeah.
are mellowing down. They actually are. And in fact, we're actually able to retain users. Used to be a time the reason why Linux had nobody was because of that
I still
hatred
see some of it.
and
I
that
still see
anger
some of it. Yeah.
and that stuff. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you still see it, but I promise you, you ask anybody who's been using Linux for a very long time, and they'll tell you that it has gotten a better. I wouldn't say a lot better. How do you say medium? What's a good word for medium? You know,
Medium,
it's kind
yeah,
of
whatever.
medium better. I mean, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I mean, it has gotten better. It does it have more to go? You betcha. It's got a
yeah,
lot more to go.
it does.
And
That's
I
what's
do
holding
believe
it
that we
down.
can make that happen.
Yeah, it's
Hang
holding
on.
it down a little bit.
Yeah.
So, uh, what are you gonna do? You muted yourself. You muted yourself.
Yeah. Sorry.
What?
My thing is going off.
Okay. So, uh, I wanted to see I want to see it get better because I'm not gonna go back to Windows anytime soon. Because I'm happy on Linux. It's something that eases the hardship that I'm going through. It keeps me busy. It keeps me on my toes. Uh, but unfortunately, people give me flack for giving them the same answer all the time. They come to me asking for support. I have this printer, it's not working. Well, how can I fix it if I don't have that printer? I haven't used printers or scanners since 1993.
Well,
So,
you can only support what you can support and what you know. So I mean,
exactly.
they can't
And
hold that against you.
a lot of people move away from XeroLinux because, oh, he's the creator of XeroLinux, yet he cannot provide support. Well, give me the hardware, I'll provide support.
Well, not
So
only that, do you know how many thousands of printers and different things are out
yeah,
there that are peripherals? I mean, you can't support everything.
no. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give you the same answer. There was someone yesterday who asked for my Wi-Fi is not working. Thank the Lord, I had made a video about that when power was still coming. I made a video explaining to users when it comes to drivers, the AUR is your rescue, and I showed them what to use and how to use. Yeah, but connection on OBS died. Okay, it's back. Uh,
Huh.
yeah, my ISP is starting to get drunk. Uh, so
No, I mean for them to realistically expect you to support everything out there, you can't. I mean, you just
yeah,
can't.
that's the reality of it. And when they come to me and they tell me, but my printer works on Linux Mint or Ubuntu or whatever, you know that those are corporations, right? They have a team behind them. They have access to a billion different kind of hardwares. They even sometimes create their own drivers for their own thing. They know what they're
Mhm.
doing. I'm just one man doing that. How can I support the vast majority of hardware when I don't have a penny to my name? I have $35 in my bank account as of today. So uh, tell me
But
what
wait,
I can
what's today? The
buy for
first?
35 bucks. I'll
Is
help.
today the first? When does your Patreon hit? Because you should be getting my Patreon here pretty quick then.
On the 5th. Yeah, it's
Oh,
on
so
the
then
5th of every month.
so then on the fifth you'll have more than 35.
I'm getting I think 120 by the 5th. But
Okay.
120, will that get me all the equipment to be able to support? No.
Nope.
It's not going to get me anything. And all that money is going to the power bill for the generator bill. So but I have good news on that front before we end.
Oh, sweet.
uh,
Good.
uh,
Let's end on a good note.
yeah, by tightening the belt as we have been tightening for the past month, we saved $50 on the bill.
No
So
kidding.
yeah, we saved $50. So
Nice.
yeah, by turning off the fridge, by turning off everything, by turning off electric
So
heating,
now
we're using
so
gas
now you only
heating.
have to pay with half an arm, not the whole arm.
Yeah, exactly. So to end on a positive note, I'm gonna ask you to go ahead and let me know what is your thing of the week.
My thing of the week. Well, I just released a video on it and I've been really playing with it just because of what it is and just, delving into it is Open Chat Kit, which is an FOSS alternative to Chat GPT.
Did I hear Chat GPT an AI thing? What blasphemy is this? What blasphemy is
Well,
this?
one of the things that I kind of got in a tiff with over with somebody was the Chat GPT thing. And yes, is there a potential that it could be something that is bad? Yes, but if you keep it FOSS, then at least it can be all eyes on it to where people can moderate and see what it's doing in the background and kind of keep it as honest as possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I don't have anything against the AI other than the fact that there will be, as soon as you invite it to your home and you accept it into your home, you don't have 100% control over it, do you? If
No,
it's
and
open
and of
source,
course
if it's
that's what I'm
open
saying.
source, you know the code, but not everybody is a developer. Not everybody understand that shit. If a regular user who's a regular Joe accepts it because he was told it was open source, what does open source mean to that average Joe? It just means that if I invite anybody who understands code, they will be able to tweak it and whatever, but I won't be able to do anything with it. So it might as well be proprietary.
I understand that to the regular Joe, but because it's open source and there's people like you that exists out there that are going and would be looking at it, that's the difference. It makes it so that it is kind of honest. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but it's
It benefits
for the
them.
limited people type of people. It's not. It's niche for the developers, for the
Right.
tinkerers,
But and
for
as far
regular
as
Joe. It doesn't
and as
matter.
far as you controlling it in your home, you're right. You can't control Alexa. You can't do this. You can't do that with Siri or
But
Google Home
I have
Assistant.
I
No.
have to be specific here. I'm talking about my own situation in Lebanon where power is scarce. Imagine yourself, you have a smart home relying on electricity. You go out to friends and you enjoy your time out with friends. You come back, the power is off. How the hell are you going to come back to your home if it's controlled by power and smart AI?
Well, that's why I haven't put smart locks on my house.
No, but you have power 24/7 compared to us, we don't. So if
Yeah.
you go out,
Well, I
okay,
mean,
some people say, okay, but locks are powered by battery powered. So they
mhm.
don't rely on power and whatever. I'm like, yeah, okay, but some other aspects like your washing machine or your dryer or your dishwasher, whatever, it has AI and it's connected to power, and you want your dishes right now because you need to eat, you want to put something on the table, you want to
Mhm.
stop the dishwasher, whatever, but there's no
Well,
power. The AI
you're
is
talking about
dead.
an
So
automated. You're talking about an automated home, which
I'm
in and of
against
itself.
automated home, be it power or not, because you never know when the thing is going to decide to go against you.
Well, that's
Okay,
because you're
that's an
living.
extremist way of looking at things, but I still have this worry in my head. You
Well,
know,
that's because for how many decades have you been living in that condition?
all my life.
Yeah, exactly. All your life. Now you come to a different place where it isn't like that. Like when you go to Greece, you're definitely going to appreciate if you ever make it to Greece. You're going to really appreciate what you have there.
Oh,
And
I
other
did. In
people.
Ireland, I did. In Ireland,
Yeah,
I
and
spent 8 months in Ireland and I was breathing for the
you
first
can
time in my life.
you'll be that guy that goes over to the light switch and says off, on, off, and then you come back an hour later, on, off. Wow, it still works. You know what I'm saying?
That's how I was. No, you're laughing, but that's how I was for the first 2, 3 weeks.
No. I get the mindset that you're in, and it's very unfortunate. I mean, you literally are still in, like I was saying, in the dark ages in your
Yeah,
country right now.
yeah.
Whereas if you go to a more modernized country, you just don't
I'm
think of those things.
when I was in Ireland, I had an internet connection of 500 down and 50 up because it was coaxial. Uh,
Correct.
I don't know why they're still using coaxial. It's outdated now, as I've been told. I don't know.
Believe it or not, in America, there's more coaxial than there is fiber.
Oh,
The
okay.
backbone, the backbone is fiber, like Comcast to get to their different
Mm.
players is all fiber. But from houses to from the pole to the house is all coaxial.
Well, I had coaxial 500 down, 50 up. I
Hmm.
downloaded 12 terabytes in 3 days,
Yeah,
or was it a week? I kept on downloading and downloading and downloading and downloading because
click
to me
click
it
click
was
click
like.
click. I can download this and this and this and
And
this and
when
this.
I saw a 50 gig movie downloading in like 10 minutes, I'm like,
Hmm.
huh? That used to take me a month. That used to take me a month, and now it's telling me
Welcome.
4 5 minutes. I'm like, you muted yourself again.
Yeah, sorry, I did it on accident.
Uh, so I'm like, new. It's like me discovering fire.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. Like I said, when you get to Greece, it'll be a totally different world for you. And
Not totally, because here's the
well,
situation. Greece is going through the same shit we're going through, except they have power. That's the only difference. The internet speed is the same as here,
uh,
and if not more expensive. Same speed,
right.
but more expensive. I pay $17. Over there, it's 30 for the same speed. Uh, Mobile wise, there's Cosmote. Cosmote is the only national cell service over there. Everything else is what's it called? The red one. What's it called?
The red one, Verizon.
No, the red
I mean, I
one.
only
It's
know the U.S. carriers. That T-Mobile,
no.
AT&T. I
Uh,
only know the
uh,
U.S. carriers.
I forget what's it called, the red
We'll
tear
call it the
shaped
red
thing.
one.
Yeah, the red one. Uh, Vodafone. Yes, yes, Krishna. It's Vodafone. They have Vodafone over there, and
Hmm.
other carriers that are from UK, Cyprus, and whatever. But the only national one is Cosmote. Cosmote, the 3G on that is 3G, no LTE. It's still on
Hmm.
3G. And coverage wise, it covers all the islands, but good luck opening a web page on that. It's more like Edge speeds.
Oh.
Uh, so Greece is not that great, but only power wise, it's better
Hmm.
than here. It's a clone of Lebanon with all the shit minus
Hmm.
the power, but uh, they got those islands that I wanna live in for life. I wanna die on a Greek island. Beautiful
Island life,
women,
baby.
beautiful beaches, and
Island
I'm gonna
life.
segue to my favorite, to my thing of the week. It's Brave browser, because I discovered things that I needed that I never knew I needed because I've been using Vivaldi and been blinded by Vivaldi for so long. Uh, it works, and it works with a GTK theme. That's just enough for me because it's consistent now. Because Vivaldi
Hmm.
wasn't consistent because as soon as you open it after a fresh install, it's a blinding light theme. It doesn't follow the GTK theme. There's no way to tell it
Actually,
to.
yeah, I did a video. I did a video comparing browsers early on in my channel, and Vivaldi was one of those. It was kind of like that was in there, and it's for a browser. It's good. You can use it
It's got a lot of
effectively.
features, but not the
Yeah, it's
ones
got
that
a lot of
count.
features, but Brave, as I said, is the one that I use in the video, and I said that in the video because of all the security that it has. To me, it was the best. So
Yeah. So Brave
I'm glad you
browser, I
switched.
recommend. Yeah, I switched. Not well. I'm gonna be going back to Vivaldi because I'm used to it. But because I'm used to it, I have so much in there that I don't wanna. And there's another thing broken in Vivaldi that in Brave that no, there's one thing broken with Brave that needs a lot of fixing. It's the synchronization feature. Uh,
You mean between your mobile and your
yeah, it does.
it may be because you're on iOS. I don't know because for my Android in Brave, not a problem.
Well,
Like
yeah,
instant,
maybe because it's
instant.
iOS. Maybe
Yeah,
because it's iOS, I will never use Android anymore. I'm done with Android. I've suffered Android long enough. Constant crashing, and you have to enjoy it right. You have to root it. You have to install Lineage OS, and you have to do. I used Samsungs and all the proprietary shit before. Their skins on top of AOSP, they're too limiting.
to each
Samsung
their
limits
own.
your ass with their
UI, one UI.
not only one UI, the protection thing, and what's it called?
Oh, the App Armor. It uses
The
App Armor, I
armor
think.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
they lock you down with that. If you try to do this, it's gonna lock you. And you won't be able to use your phone anymore. All these things and limitations to bypass them, you have to root. You have to do this. You have to do that.
I think you can unlock it though. I
Yeah,
think
you can
there's a
unlock
way of
it,
unlocking it.
but this is more of the one pluses.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm done with Android. I'm an iOS user because I just want my phone to work. uh, but maybe, as you said, Brave issue is with iOS. But
Hmm.
synchronization, I keep losing bookmarks, having bookmarks that show on the phone, but when you click them, it doesn't open anything. It just doesn't do anything. It keeps losing connection with the synchronization because your main computer is your main sync server, basically. It acts as the main hub to your synchronization. If for whatever reason it loses connection or whatever, it can't sync. That sync system that they got, I prefer to sync to the internet, to have an account over at on their servers, host my bookmarks and everything there. Just log in on my phone, like on Firefox and everything else, and get everything downloaded instead of having to rely
Right.
on my PC to be able to send the synchronization thing and whatever. So
Yeah. I don't know. I
uh
mean, I like I said, I never had a problem with that. And me, I like to keep all my stuff on site more so than in a cloud somewhere because
no, me, I don't mind the browser bookmarks because they just bookmark.
I
That's
understand
basically,
that.
I don't have to deal with all this mess. Brave so far works, but it that sync thing is questionable. It still needs work. Uh, Vivaldi, once they come out with the iOS version, I'm gonna switch back.
Mm-hmm.
because they're telling me this because I sync everything on their servers, so I
Mm-hmm.
have no doubt that it's going to work flawlessly on the phone. Uh, so I
I hope
use
so.
what works for me. So
Exactly.
Vivaldi
Like I
works for
said
me
earlier with
better
tools,
than
a
and I'm
browser's a tool.
and since browser is a tool, and since I am in contact with Vivaldi now,
Mm-hmm.
I can suggest features from Brave to implement in Vivaldi. We'll see. And with that, people, thank you for hanging out. Sorry, I couldn't read chat at the same time because I have my phone in front of my in front of the monitor that has the chat on it, and I couldn't bring it here because here I have Alex and here I have Discord, so I can't bounce everything. Sorry, I couldn't get to your chats. And again, Mislav, thank you for the super chat.
Thanks to all
And
of you who've tuned in and watched us.
yeah,
Thank you so much.
it was a fun one. We talked a lot,
Mhm.
and before I go, I want you to let the people know where they can find you.
So you could find me, the Linux Tube, on Instagram. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on YouTube. And now I am on Discord as well. I will be posting a link on my show links on my page. So you can always go to YouTube and check out my little links there that I have in the descriptions as well as in the bios of the page.
And I'm gonna
You'll
have all your links in the description
excellent.
below as well.
And so you guys can reach me on Discord. And as most of you know, Mislav, he's one of my Patreons, but he PMs me all the time, and I talk to him all the time. I answer people all the time. I'm always available. It doesn't matter. So
Same here, same here.
yep.
And I'm gonna close it by you know where to find me. You can find me on Discord, XeroLinux server. I reply to people all the time, no matter what time it is, as long as I'm still awake. Um, uh, and you can find my website at zerolinux.xyz, my YouTube at zerolinux, YouTube at zerolinux.
Hmm.
And that's about it. And Fostodon, of course. I'm on the Fediverse. I'm deleting my Twitter account at the end of April.
Are you? Why,
Yeah,
if I may ask?
because it has become a mess. I can't keep up anymore. And using their app, let's say you reply to me on Twitter, I have to
Hmm.
scroll through all the ads to get to you. I'm done with that. The Fediverse is the place to be. So I'll be sharing everything over there. I'm very transparent. So every step I take on XeroLinux, like if I want to apply this wallpaper, I want to ask people's opinions and stuff like that. I don't use the YouTube community tab because I don't like it. I prefer the Fediverse. Uh, More eyes are on it. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you'll find me over there. And if you're watching this after the fact, you will find all the links in the description. And
Hmm.
ask me any questions. And I always reply to all the comments that I receive on YouTube, all of them with
Hmm.
no exception, because I get so few that I can.
Right.
I don't get a million, so I still can. But yeah, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed.
And of
And
course, you can join us in our YouTube channels. Joining always helps out.
yeah, joining helps out. And hit the super thanks if you feel in a giving mood. This will help a lot. And of course, I still have my fundraiser, which will be linked in the description below, and Patreon. With that, I'm going to say to everyone, peace and long life to everyone.
Peace and long life. I can't do it. Broke my
It's hard.
finger.
It's hard.
But either way,
Just
anyhow, yes. Have a good one, guys.
take care.